Hey there, welcome to the Gyro Step Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN, and presented by our friends at PrizePicks. I am Ti Windisch, one of your hosts. Joining me as always is Deja Vu Rohan Katti. Rohan, should we share the unique circumstance of this podcast?
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
we could do that. This is the second time we're recording this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, had a bit of some technical issues. That was no one's fault.
Thanks, Rohan.
For the first time we recorded this, so we're doing it again.
Yeah, we had, do it Sunday night, be all ready for Monday morning. You know, we've been recording a lot on Monday mornings, which is good. We have more info, but, I'd like to have it up for people as early as possible. But unfortunately, we were thwarted in that. So we are going to go through a lot of the same things. We have some updated info, which I guess that's great. But we're here to talk about, of course, Milwaukee's 5-game winning streak post-All-Star break. Their tough Western Conference slate of games, one home game tonight as we record against the Clippers, and then 4 road games, one of which is also against the Clippers. Some news, some standings watch, Chris Middleton update, all sorts of things. So let's get right into the fun stuff, Rohan, the win streak. And last time we did this, the first thing we talked about, fittingly, or at least one of the first things, was Giannis. And I think that is the right place to pick it up because there is a lot that's been going right for the Bucks post-All-Star. They have the best defense in the NBA by a pretty good margin. The Timberwolves made up some ground. Even though they lost to the Clippers, it was such a low-scoring game. They made up some ground.
89-88.
Yeah, but the Bucks still are 3.5 points clear of them for the top defense, which is the same difference between the 2 spot and about the 9 spot. So they have a big lead on the best defense in the NBA. That will be tested over this next week or two. Milwaukee also has the second best offense. I think they had the best net rating. Boston just simply obliterated the Golden State Warriors yesterday, though, and they now have the best net rating. These are 5 and 6 game samples, so pretty small sample size. But the Bucks have played awesome as a team. They have played awesome as many individuals. Giannis averaging 31.4 points, 11.8 rebounds, 5.2 assists per game, shooting 66% from the field, 77% from 3, 73% from free throw. He's almost getting it to where free throw is the lowest of all the numbers, which is not great, but 73, we've seen worse numbers. So I'm not that mad at 73%, to be honest. What have you seen from Giannis in these 5 games that really stands out to you, Rohan?
I think from these last couple, and it's not even just the 5 games. It's been a culmination of him for this entire season, but it's been exemplified in these last few games. It's that he's the best player in basketball, and it's not close. The way he's impacting both ends of the basketball, like you mentioned, those are all offensive statistics that you were mentioning, not to mention being the only real guy in the NBA who's capable of switching 1 through 5 consistently and making an impact on the defensive end. He's far and away the best player in basketball. If you just wanted to take his offensive statistics, and like you were talking about, first on track to be the first player to average 30 on 60% shooting from the field, just tied for the most 40-point games in NBA history on 70% shooting from the field with 20.
Jeez.
And it's just ridiculous, and that's only taking one side of the ball into account. If you wanted to say, hey, he's going up against Jokic, Shea, Luka on the MVP candidacy, just looking at his offensive statistics, you'd be like, yeah, this guy probably deserves it, right? Like, he's definitely in consideration. He's up there with them. Take into account the other side of the ball. It's not close. It's not close. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, great defender, not switching 1 through 5. Not capable of defending centers and out there going on the perimeter as well. That's only one man alone. That's Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think this is an easy decision. I think it's Giannis. I think Giannis is the best basketball player in the entire planet, and he deserves to be rewarded for it.
I agree. I worry he will not be. I think it's closer maybe than you say with Jokic, just because he's so good offensively. But again, like
he's defense, so much better than Giannis.
No, he's just so good. I think he's
one side of the ball.
Yes, exactly.
2 sides, Ty.
I know. The problem is all these nerds and their numbers don't capture defense, so they don't even try anymore. Or they do. If they do, it's just here's the on-off swing. And Jokic's looks good because when it's not him, it's Zeke Naji at center, which is even worse. And the defenders around Zeke Naji are worse than the ones around Jokic.
DeAndre Jordan disrespect.
I don't even know if he plays anymore. I feel like he had that one good game against the Bucks and he's just gone now. Which I'm kind of like, damn, he was actually looked pretty good. But it's just that you have to actually watch all the games to know. And a lot of people don't, as we've covered in detail for many years.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate reality, but we know in our hearts who the real MVP is. Not my MVP if Giannis doesn't win, in my opinion.
Just getting into some danger, some new mock territory here with these kind of declarations. Giannis for the season averaging nearly 31 points per game, 11 rebounds, 6.3 assists. Again, nearly up to 62% from the field now. So he is getting some buffer on the 30 and 60. He's almost 31, 62 at this point. Giannis is pretty good. Dame's been better. You know.
Oh, by the way, just before we end on Giannis, apparently efficiency only matters when it's Jokic.
Apparently.
That's what I've heard, at least.
Yeah, I feel like anything that Giannis would get knocked for if Jokic does it, it's just like, oh, it's so quirky. Oh, it's so fun how they lost the lead in that game. Classic Jokic. So adorable. Like, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean?
Know.
Like every year. No, I don't either. But every year at this time of year, usually Denver we don't care anymore. And it's like, oh, they're playing possum before the quirky Nuggets. It's like, okay, anyone else does that and they get torn apart. Or the Heat. Oh yeah, the Heat are dead this year, but you got to give Jimmy that top 10 player respect. Do you? I mean, could you just recently, yeah. Okay, but is that how it works now? All right, he turned it on for a week. He's that guy. Bet him for the doubt always.
Yeah.
They're putting Giannis 7th in MVP and saying his career trajectory is over for being better than all these guys, but not as good as he normally was better. But it's like, oh, yeah, we took the whole regular season off, but no slander there.
We didn't take his hurt wrist into account,
Yeah, true.
We didn't need the fact that he needed knee surgery into account.
Yeah. I feel like everyone gets easier goalposts than Giannis.
Yeah.
I mean, they were getting torn apart like they are where the Heat usually are. And they were at worst third in the East. And it was like they're dead. What?
The Heat were fighting for a play-in spot. Do you see Jimmy Butler says someone asked him, what does it take to turn into playoff Jimmy? He's like, what do you mean turn into the best player in the world? I think the best player in the world would have a ring, right?
It's like, even if you want to do the East stuff, like you went up against another guy who was like way better than you and they won the finals against you pretty easily. So I feel like it's not a really good thing to say.
No. It's like, yeah, I'll give the Heat respect, obviously. Like, you kind of have to if you're a Bucks fan. You have to give the Heat respect. I don't have to respect those claims.
No. I mean, I'm saying the Bucks and Heat have been on a cycle, and it's timing up to be a good year for the Bucks.
It is indeed. But yeah, Giannis, best player in basketball.
Except for Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jason Tatum probably, Luka, LeBron, Steph, Rui Hachimura. But except for those guys.
Taurean Prince.
We'll talk about the Lakers later, but
D'Angelo Russell.
I saw real outlets giving them a better offseason grade than the Bucks. The Bucks got Damian Lillard, they got Rui Hachimura, and they got better. But hey,
they re-signed Rui.
That Austin Reeves contract, though,
ooh,
game changer. When you need a guy to disappear in a big game, you want a discount on that guy, and that's exactly what they did.
But he shouted, "He's him." When he was mic'd up.
True. He saw some baddies. I don't know if you've seen, and he made 3 buckets after that, and now he's him. The funniest thing about the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell's just like clearly their third best player, and just nobody's excited about it, so nobody.
He's really pretty good.
Yeah, he's having a very good year, and I think they're going to lose him because of like the bird rights and everything.
Yeah, It's crazy. It's like the player who's actually showing up as a Laker is D'Angelo Russell.
It's really
crazy.
weird. I mean, it's not something I would feel good about going into the playoffs. Luckily for the Lakers, they probably won't go into the playoffs. Anyway, back to the Bucks. We'll talk about the Lakers later. Damian Lillard, averaging 20 points per game, 7 assists to 3 turnovers. Pretty good assist turnover. The twos have not been falling. I think he's been taking some contact on drives that is not necessarily getting called, but the threes have been falling 39% post All-Star. I'd say he's had 3 very good games and then 2 kind of clunkers, but thankfully, I like to think, the games that he wasn't as great, I just don't think he was pressing that hard because it was the Bulls game and the Hornets game, which are 2. I mean, the Bulls game, I just think he was getting hit on drives and they weren't getting called. The Hornets game, though, it kind of felt like he just took the foot off the gas. Like, oh, okay, we're bum slaying again. I'm not going to go all out Dame to beat the Hornets. Like, let's let Bobby Portis and AJ Green, or not AJ Green in that game. Let's let Bobby Portis and Malik Beasley and these guys have their moments. But it's just been nice to see him take more audacious threes, see more of them drop, and I'm sure the twos will start falling as well. And I think Chris Middleton being back will be greatly beneficial just to help with the overall spacing on the team, which certainly will help everyone, Giannis and Dame as well, as he tries to get to the basket more often.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting stretch for Damian Lillard in terms of him coming out of the All-Star break. We had mentioned during the All-Star break, or right before, actually no, right after, excuse me, about how taking that momentum from All-Star weekend, coming out, and then he started shooting like pretty well. We're like, oh, he's fixed, he's better, he's so much better, and then sort of been whelmed since. This is obviously, like you're saying, just like a better outcome than what we've been seeing previously from Dame, because it was kind of realistically a low bar pre-All-Star break from Damian Lillard. But now that, like you're mentioning, it's probably a little bit of a higher output than we're seeing in the counting stats because he's not getting those calls, and just in general, league not getting those shooting calls in general. Just a weird situation around the NBA about whether you're going to get calls or no calls. But yeah, I think Dame definitely has room to improve. I'd say, like I said earlier, just whelmed by the performance. But
are you more or less confident in him?
I'm optimistic.
Are you more or less confident in him than you were before All-Star right now?
I'd say more confident.
Yeah.
I'd say more confident because it's the mindset. It's the shots he's taking. Look at those first 2 shots against the Chicago Bulls. Those 2 like deep threes in succession. Don't pay attention to the fact that he didn't hit a 3 until the 3rd quarter or the 4th quarter. But that's the type of mindset you need from Dame. You need him to be an audacious shot taker. You need him to be an irrational confidence guy, and we're starting to see that.
I agree. Unfortunately, the Bucks will not see the 3rd best player, Chris Middleton, that we've been waiting to see for actually will be a month now between games. At least that's if he plays in the Bucks' next game against the Warriors. Doc said he was pretty doubtful before the injury report came out, and then he was ruled out. So they're not chancing it.
I say a lot of bad things about Doc. It's pretty nice that he just says injury stuff.
He just says everything.
He says everything. Ask him a question, he'll tell you.
He will fire off a take, baby. That is what he does.
It's a breath of fresh air.
As we'll get to in the next, and I think this next section here, it's also just done a good job coaching the team too. So it's not just the funny ha-has, although those have certainly been there. But
there was a point during All-Star weekend where we're just like, get a microphone away from this dude. Get a microphone away from everyone related to the Milwaukee Bucks. Which is impossible because they all have podcasts. But
I didn't want the job. I said, please, no. They put a gun to my head.
I said...
That's pretty much where he was at over.
But I realized I had a debt from this consulting thing, so I had to take the job. Otherwise, they were gonna shoot me.
I think this team is cooked, but I'm gonna try my best. This is my hardest job ever.
And I had to coach Joel Embiid. Which is like, I'm kidding, but he basically said that. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that.
At halftime, Game 7, I said, Ben, if you're at the rim, lay it in. And I knew he wouldn't. He's the new LeBron with the lies. I still can't believe, I don't know if we talked about this on the show, that he says he told Kawhi Shea was going to be special. Are you sure about this? Would he have even been talking to Kawhi during that time?
No.
Because that was all orchestrated together.
Yeah, it's like you just admitted to tampering.
Yeah, like in a crazy way. Imagine Kawhi Leonard.
No, I don't think it was tampering at the time.
They were talking about roster moves from other teams. I think that is tampering.
No, but I think like in terms of him talking to Kawhi Leonard about like a player on the
he could talk
roster.
to Kawhi maybe, but he's also talking about somebody else. I mean, they're talking about trading for Paul George, clearly.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of Kawhi, like, okay, I will sign here, but you need to trade for Paul George. And like this idea that Doc is then like, I don't know, this Shea kid is pretty special, Kawhi. I think you're making the wrong call. I saw
maybe he told him after the fact.
Dan Favale was like, I told Kawhi, by like, I don't know, March 2024, I think Shea could be leading a team that's number 1 in the Western Conference. Thunder just took the 1 seed last night. Yeah, Doc is a silly little goose, but he's doing a good job with the Bucks, as we'll talk about. He's a silly little goose. He's presiding over.
He's just a little guy.
He's just a fun little. He's like would be so big and tower over me in person.
Oh my god, he's a big.
What is he? 6'3"? Or it's even taller.
6'3".
Maybe 6'5".
Doc Rivers is 6'4".
Oh, I split the difference.
Like ridiculous.
No, but it's pretty tall.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty tall.
I mean, I'd be looking up at him, calling him a little goose. I mean, a little bit.
Not too much.
But
you're tall. Give yourself some credit.
I'm about a 6er. Oh, I didn't like the way that came out.
I'd say you're 6'1".
That was Mikal Bridges until he was informed he wasn't. I'd say I'm a 6er. Well, actually. Hope your mom finds a new job, Mikal. That org is dangerous. Anyway, the Bucks are bullies.
I forgot you worked for the Sixers for a second. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, this is perfect. He's born in Philly. Perfect fit for the team. And he's like, perfect fit. His mom works there. And they're like, yeah, we're going to get a guy we're going to try and kill instead.
Oh, man. Poor Zaire.
Zaire Smith. Yeah. Peanuts. The Bucks are bullies. I'm going to just force through the...
we
can talk about Doc and... Yeah.
Like the Sixers medical staff.
I don't know if bully is the right word there. Giannis was asked about like the physical nature of the team, and he used the word bullies in his answer. Half jokingly, but probably not really. I mean, do we start with Pat Bev here? Mr. Belt to Ass himself, now that we're both on the same page of what that means, and... We've gotten even more Pat Bev content. We've gotten an absurd rate of too small. I mean, at this point, anytime he makes a basket, it has nothing to do with anyone's height. He would make an open shot and do a too small on the way back. He's chiding teams for not being good enough teammates. Like, this guy's unstoppable now.
It's incredible. It's honestly incredible. Pat Beverley is something this team desperately needed in terms of an attitude, in terms of something to galvanize them, to light a fire under their butts. It's beautiful. It's honestly incredible. I think Pat Beverley is the ultimate you love him if he's on your team, hate him if he's not guy. I thought it was Delly before Pat Bev, but I think it's Pat Bev. Pat Bev clears Delly in that regard because he's so entertaining about it. He's so entertaining. You see him just like I mentioned earlier. The NBA is not really calling a ton of fouls anymore, which is we will take that.
I mean, it'd be nice if Dame got some, but overall, that's something I'm very happy about.
And there's this clip that went viral about him just like pestering DeMar DeRozan, poking the ball, just being really physical, and then Ayo Dosunmu just shoves Pat Bev to the ground. And you know what? Pat Bev doesn't go complain. He doesn't go just go get mad, go try to fight Ayo. He's like, okay. And then later in the game, no one helps Ayo up. Pat Bev, the guy Ayo shoved to the ground, is the one helping Ayo up and yelling at the rest of the Bulls, hey, help him up. Help him. I love Pat Bev. I'm all the way in.
Did you listen to the pod?
I have not.
When he said he's renting Bud's house from Bud.
Oh, I did see that.
He said, "Don't worry, I don't smoke weed. I won't stink up your house." This is like one of the 5 most entertaining things from the first 10 minutes of the Pat Bev pod. The best thing about the Pat Bev pod is like Roan is there to like drive it.
Who is Roan?
He is a
he
rapper.
the host?
Yeah, he's like a rapper. He's a freestyle. Okay. He's like a freestyle battle. Everything about this pod is insane.
He's a battle rapper.
Yeah, I think he's like a battle rapper.
Year is it?
Dude, he does like a freestyle when they have guests.
What? Does this still battle?
He does. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
This is like the most Pat Bev possible white host of an NBA podcast. Like it's a very Pat Bev person to find. Anyway, like usually these people kind of like steer the convo. It's like a stream of consciousness, and Roan just tries to keep up. It's incredible. Pat Bev will just like whatever he wants to talk about, he's going to talk about. So he was very upset. Roan didn't cancel a vacation to go with him somewhere, and he brought it up about 14 times. Pat Bev insists his black friends would have canceled the vacation, and this has been a point of contention between them for a couple of episodes now.
Where was the vacation to?
Don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know if we know. I don't even know if we know. I know. I keep asking. It's so good. What else did Pat Bev? So, what I wanted to mention, the coaching thing. So, Chris Finch walked off without talking to Pat Bev. Pat Bev says he studies how coaches act after games because he wants to be a coach someday, which I didn't know that. And he had some very strong words for Chris Finch not acknowledging him after the game. Said it's a weak move. Said after they beat the Sixers earlier in the year, Finchy came up and was all love, and then just was
the Wolves.
What?
You said Sixers.
No, the Wolves beat the Sixers.
Oh,
when he was a Sixer. When he was a Sixer. Okay. Yeah. So the Wolves won a game against Pat Bev, and Finch was all love. Pat Bev says, and then the Bucks smacked the Wolves, and he just walked out. Pat Bev was upset about this. Doesn't like that at all.
I mean, pretty understandable.
And he talked about practice and, insisting on they have a more physical practice to Doc. And Doc's like, okay. I think at this point, Pat Bev is half coaching the Bucks. Like, seems like I'm going to call a play. Oh, we haven't introduced that one yet. I'll just tell everyone right now. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Give me the clipboard. He's like telling Brooke Lopez where to stand. There's a clip where Brooks kind of like waves him off. Like, Pat, I can do it. Pat's like, no, trust me. I got this. I've been here a week and a half. I know exactly what we need to do. They've been better with him, so I'm not going to question his operation there. But he talks about running ones where you get a point by stopping the opponent, so it's like defensive ones. And it's like Giannis wants to run ones with him. And then AJ Green is the next person he says jumps in the game. We've got to have an AJ Green dog combo. Because I think AJ Green, he was also, when Giannis is going through the quote-unquote passionate players or the bullies on the team, AJ Green was like the third player. It's like Pat Bev, Bobby, AJ Green. Yeah. AJ Green, Larry Bird is, he must be living up to the Larry Bird comp, like in terms of mentality. Like, I don't know. He was very pleasant when we had him on the pod, but clearly AJ Green is like, has that damn dog in him because he keeps getting mentioned high on these lists.
Yeah. If anyone's going to go run ones against Giannis, it's AJ Green, obviously. Like it's so funny to think about because when you think about AJ Green's game, you think about a guy like a shooter who's going to just come off screens, just hit threes whenever he has a window, like a sliver of opportunity. You're going to think of him like a Kyle Korver, JJ Redick-esque player. But the thing is, he's clearly got a little more to that to his game that he just hasn't been able to showcase as a member of the Bucks. One, because he's been sort of pigeonholed into a role. That's what happens when you're an undrafted guy who makes his way from a two-way to a roster spot. And just, you have to play a role for a new coach is, hey, Doc Rivers chose AJ Green initially in his rotation because he's like, hey, I know what you can do. You can go out there and shoot the ball. But AJ's clearly got something else to his game. I think for one of the first times in that Bulls game, we saw AJ Green just come out and hit like a midi as his first shot. And we're like, oh, that's something a little different. Okay, AJ. I think it was, coming off a pin down, hit a midi, and then he just goes and hits some threes. Gets just absolutely clobbered by Nikola Vucevic.
Frustration foul because they were getting punked.
Yeah, and Vooch just thought Bobby fouled him on the other end.
Yeah.
The previous possession. Hey, Vooch, good to see you in Rosemary. Great restaurant, by the way. in Chicago, but you can't be doing that.
No.
Can't be doing that. That's just bad. But AJ Green pops up right away and starts getting in his teammate's chest like, okay, AJ, we see you. We see you.
I also love that right after it's not just like Giannis that these guys are protective of. As soon as AJ got popped, Bobby and Pat Bev were inserting themselves into a forming fracas. Like, hey,
because he's one of them.
Don't do that. You don't do that to our guys, to our dogs. I tweeted about this.
I love that AJ gets mentioned before Boss Man.
Dude, AJ, something about AJ, man. I mean, also, like, rotationally, kind of took his spot back in that game. Gallo lost most of his minutes in the second half, and then
Gallo
AJ
stinks.
Green. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not good. The first time we did this pod, I was, I guess, on hater time, and I kind of went in on Gallo. I said Gallo should play in NCAA. That's the league that he should play in.
I said that he should he'd thrive in the Euro League.
I still disagree with that. I still disagree with that. I don't think so. You still have to move over there.
I mean, I guess little bit.
I mean, I guess you did see Gershon Yabusele dominate a game, so maybe Gallo could still be good.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough Gallo. He should not play. AJ Green should play. And all the buyout guys make me sad. All the new ones. Who just got bought out? There was Shake. I think there's another one now. Even.
Was there?
It doesn't matter. The Shake one would have been fun.
Otto didn't.
The Knicks need all. I don't care that much.
Marcus Morris.
Oh no.
I can't believe the Spurs actually bought him out.
Why not?
Because remember when he agreed to a contract with the Spurs and then they traded Bertans for the cap space, then he just went and signed with the Knicks?
Well, yeah, it's not necessarily a favor to him. They probably just don't want him around Wemby.
I know, but it's like buy him out like March 2nd or something.
Oh, they probably knew no one was signing him. He sucks.
Yeah, but it would have been really funny.
According to aspiring reporter Pat Bev, he is a valued veteran forward or whatever. That was one of the guys who he had intel on. And he does vlogs sometimes too.
He does?
Yeah, and it's like part of the pod, I think. And he's like on the phone with him. And he's on the phone with Daniel House. Actually on FaceTime with Daniel House. And like the league needs you in it, man. And I was like, I think the league will be fine if it doesn't have Daniel House.
Yeah, Daniel House didn't get signed.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a guy who probably playing EuroLeague. That I could say.
I mean, Kemba Walker is like struggling, so. You see there's like a claim that
I forgot he went over there.
Yeah, do you see there's like a claim that he scored 92 points in a game, which was just completely false?
I was going to say, you can look that up.
It's just ridiculously false. I think his season high is like, what is it? 13.
That's just sad.
Yeah.
That's a Mozgov 96. That's a clerical error.
He's living in Monaco though.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's helping the next generation of hoopers. Kemba Walker, come on the pod. Talk about Bucks Hornets. I guess Bucks Celtics too. He was around for some of that. What were we talking about? Oh, the dogs. Yeah, AJ Green, Pat Bev. Even though Pat Bev is not shooting well.
We're talking about bullies. Shout out Zebo. Bullies get bullied. Remember that? When he was talking to Boogie?
Yeah.
Remember Boogie?
I feel like Boogie was a guy you didn't really want to mess with, but then Zebo was a guy that even he didn't want to mess with.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. There's not many guys higher than Zebo on the you shouldn't mess with them scale.
I mean, if you're a jailblazer,
yeah,
probably
that's built in.
You don't want to mess.
Who's number one in that right now?
The guys you don't want to mess with?
Yeah, I feel like there's not that many in the league anymore.
James Johnson?
I don't even think he's on the league right now.
Yeah, he's gone again. The league. Yeah,
because the Bucks don't play the Pacers anymore. They don't need him.
Admiral Schofield?
He doesn't really have that rep. He's just jacked.
No, he's just big. He's just a jack dude.
Is it someone on the Bucks?
Is it Bobby?
Might be.
What happened to the game I love, man? If it's Bobby.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like.
We used to have a team called the Jailblazers.
Oh, you know who it actually? It might be Isaiah Stewart.
Oh yeah,
that dude got arrested because he tried to fight
Drew Eubanks.
Like, what came up there?
wild sentence. That dude got arrested because he tried to fight Drew Eubanks.
Do you think Drew Eubanks came up to him and was like, I actually am the 50th best center. You're the 51st best big man in the league. Isaiah Stewart's like, I'm not going to tolerate. I don't know where a lisp came from that, but
he just like the reporting out of that was so funny because it's like, what is it? Stewart just dropped his stuff and just punched Drew Eubanks in the face.
He might not even be an enforcer. He's just a loose cannon, to be honest. That picture of him like all bloody chasing LeBron is actually insane.
Yeah, I think no, you're right. It is Isaiah Stewart.
It's not. I don't think he's an enforcer, but he is the guy you don't want to mess with because he doesn't care about the game, his repercussions. He will literally.
You don't want to look him in the eye, funny. Because he'll take that.
I'm glad the Bucks don't play the Pistons anymore because it is you're on thin ice against that guy every time.
I mean, remember that one time last season, Giannis Antetokounmpo went up to him after the game and was like, "Hey,
yeah,
yeah."
That's the thing.
They were ready.
Giannis always having at least one built-in backup. I feel like it emboldens him a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. If
stuff really pops out, you know he's tagging in TA.
Oh yeah, TA won't tag himself in.
TA, he better. I'm still mad that Jay Crowder had to hold him back from no, let TA go. It's fine.
We can get suspended for one game.
We can weather that storm.
I think the Bucks will be okay.
I think garbage time could actually improve if the young players get to touch the ball sometimes.
Okay, that's too far.
All right, well, anyway, the Bucks have been playing really well. They're shooting well as a team from three, but actually one of the big developments for me is Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton have not been, and the Bucks are still winning both of their minutes. This was something I've been going after the trade deadline. We were literally praying those guys would get traded, and it seems like kind of trusting and sticking with them is paying off for the Bucks. Bobby's shooting 33% from three. Pat Connaughton, 28.6% from three. And still, the Bucks have won their minutes. Still, those guys have been active. And I know Bobby in particular, you feel like he's playing his best ball of the season right now.
Yeah, Bobby Portis feels like a new player coming out of the All-Star break. He feels like a player that did exactly what we wanted him to do. I know we did a pod about what we want to see from each player coming out of the All-Star break. And it seems like the Milwaukee Bucks took that into account. They listened to, hey, we said this when Bud was there. I think the players still listen to the pod. And if you do, hey, shut up.
I don't think the players do.
You think the coaching staff does?
I think that's more like, I feel like if you're a player, unless you're KD.
But it's transcended coaching staff.
Maybe
it's Oppenheimer.
Maybe it's Peter Fagan.
Oh boy. Oh man. You know what? If it's Peter Fagan, shout out.
Cracking a cold one, putting the pot on Apple CarPlay.
There's going to be a brain. We're doing the thing. Don't test my alcohol level right now because I'm driving.
Bobby Portis just shaking his head like, come on, we got to keep Wisconsin roads safe. It's my number one thing, dude.
Hey, you know what? Shout out Bobby Portis for that because it's very important.
And hunger. Bobby Portis does a lot of great things.
He's the mayor of Milwaukee for a reason. Upcoming mayoral election, by the way. It's crazy. I didn't think that was going to happen already, but it is. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Bobby Portis just transformed himself really into the player that we wanted him to be. He's cleaned up his shot selection massively.
Yeah.
Absolutely cleaned it up. He's no longer a black hole on offense. He's taking more threes. He's being more reasonable. He's passing the ball, Ty. He's passing the ball. He's averaging, 2 assists and 1 turnover? Same with Brook Lopez over this stretch. And it's like, 2 assists? Bobby Portis? I mean, Brook Lopez too, but oh my God.
Yeah, they're both
Brook Lopez honestly might be more impressive. But
it might be. They're both on 2 assists to 0.8 turnovers post-break. So they've been moving the ball a bit.
They've been moving the ball a bit. They're cleaning up their shot selection. This applies to Brook Lopez as well. And they're acting more decisive on the interior. They're making passes to late cuts, and it's beautiful basketball, Ty. It truly is. There were possessions in that Bulls game in the third quarter where am I watching the Spurs play basketball here? It's like you're seeing Giannis come out of the corner on delayed cuts. You're seeing Giannis snake through on Wade cuts, as Marcus Johnson likes to point out on the broadcast. And it's just This is beautiful basketball. It truly is. You're seeing them read and react accordingly. You're seeing them play good offensive team basketball, which is not something you would see with Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton on the court pre-All-Star break. You would see a disjointed offense that has no idea what it's doing, that is trying to just make whatever shot possible that they get even a sliver of a window to take, and then just be completely discombobulated on the defensive end. That is not the case anymore. And that might be the biggest addition that the Bucks have made. And the biggest takeaway from these games post All-Star and during this winning streak is that Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton are making a difference.
Yeah, we no longer feel like the Bucks are like a 5 or 6 deep team. They feel like they have a real rotation.
Their bench is still not they're still not like, hey, we trust them late in games. You see Giannis and Dame still playing late because it's like, hey, we need some starters out there, even though it's garbage time and we're up for 15. But 15 is like, it's a little shaky when you're putting an all bench unit. But
I will say, I think they got a little unlucky in that in the Bulls game, because it felt like there was like a 2-minute stretch after the game was over where like the Bulls reserves just hit every three. And it was like, okay, it's going to get tightened if teams do that. I don't know if it was necessarily wholly the bench unit's fault, but yeah, that has been a thing. I want to talk about Doc Rivers' coaching job before we preview this Western Conference slate. But first, I want to talk about our friends at PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. More than 3 million members. The easiest and most exciting way to get on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. All you do is pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Rohan, we both played last week. We both won last week. 2 different Bucks-Hornets games, but we actually had one shared play on the same projection in 2 different games, which I believe was Giannis more or less than 1.5 dunks, was it? Oh, mine might have been 1.5, but either way, he had 4. It was 2.5 for me too. He had 4 in both, so we both hit that one. I also had more than on Dame, 11 rebounds and assists. Dame has been averaging like 14 combined rebounds and assists since All-Star, so he was over that. He had 16 in that game. And this is my favorite one. Less than Miles Bridges, 20.5 points. He had 17. He looked like a bum in both of those games against the Bucks.
Go to jail. If we're talking about jail blazers, what jail? It's Miles Bridges. Honestly, despicable human being.
Yeah. So watching him fail was great.
Not only watching him fail, being able to make picks and win based on Miles Bridges failing, like, props to you, Ty. I wish I thought of that. Because that has to be so satisfying.
I almost wish they played him more.
What did you say when we did this last time? Like, one of the largest worst plus minuses against a single team in a season?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can actually find it now.
Regardless about whether the actual whether it's the most in NBA history or not.
He also had the second worst plus minus in a single game in history in a different game this season. He was a minus 56 in December.
Incredible. But the Bucks have outscored the Hornets by like 200 points when Miles Bridges is on the court. Am I saying that right, Ty?
I'm pretty sure it's something like that, yeah.
Because the Bucks have not only just blown the doors off the Hornets in their 4 games, but they've especially done it in Miles Bridges' minutes, which you just truly love to see. It's incredible. But yeah, you got that flex play W. Did you get one wrong in that?
No, that was not a flex play. That was
a straight power play.
Yep, lining them up, knocking them down.
Okay, so I had a flex play against the Hornets last week, Thursday, the second game, the one on the road. Like you said, Giannis more than 2.5 dunks. That hit. 4. He had 4, and it's a small Hornets team, he's going to get to the rim whenever he wants. Brook Lopez, Demon, more than 2.5 made threes. He hit that. I mean, he had 3. But
crushed that. He absolutely crushed that.
I don't know. I felt good about Brook Lopez's threes. I felt like since he's cleaned up his shot selection a bit, he needs to be rewarded by the basketball gods with the shots that he was taking. So that was a fun one for me. And then Brandon Miller, more than 28.5 fantasy score. He squeaked by 29.9. Had me a little concerned in the third quarter because after a strong first half, he was sort of trailing off. And then the one I got wrong was Bossman99, Jay Crowder, more than 4.5 rebounds. I don't know. I thought there would be a lot more garbage time in that game. We thought we'd get more Bossman minutes, and he'd be able to get some boards. But unfortunately, he only had 2. But thankfully, I did a flex play, so he only needed to get 3 out of 4, which I did, which is still a win.
I got the stat.
Oh boy, let's hear it.
First, we don't have to call this part of the segment. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with PrizePicks. Go to PrizePicks.com/Eurostep or download the PrizePicks app and use promo code Eurostep. Either way, the Eurostep part is key to get that first deposit match up to $100 on us. So join us on PrizePicks. You can get in on the action as well and win some cash by maybe loving the Bucks, maybe hating other teams, maybe a mix of both. But either way, it's out there for you. It's that easy. So check out our friends at PrizePicks. So technically, surprisingly, Tyrese Halliburton has the single season worst plus minus against a team. But
it was
5 games.
5 games.
No, it was 2 years ago against the Grizzlies. I think the year he got traded. So he played them 5 times, and they smoked him, minus 110. But in terms of 4-game series, which is usually the most you can play, Miles Bridges, worst all-time, minus 105 versus Milwaukee in the 4 games this year. Only the 3rd time a player has been minus 100. Juwan Howard against the Lakers. Juwan Howard against the Nuggets for the Lakers was a minus 100 in 4 games. Halliburton was minus 110, but again in 5 games. So per game, Bridges against the Bucks, the stinkiest of all time.
Remember when Juwan Howard tried to fight? Was it like the Wisconsin head coach?
As a guard, I think.
No, yeah, I think he tried to fight Greg Gard, right?
That's how you're already losing if you're trying to fight Greg Gard.
Yeah, remember when Wisconsin was like a top 10 team in the country?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Marquette's number 5, by the way.
I told my dad I was excited to watch March Madness, and that first day I was going to watch basketball day that Thursday, and he goes, you should do it on the Tuesday for the play and maybe get to see Wisconsin. I was like, damn, that's a random shot. This list is hilarious. Trae Young is on here. Guess what team it was against that Trae Young had one of the worst 4-game plus minuses versus?
Oh, it's going to be a bad team. Is it East or West?
It's got to be East, of course. 4 games. Yeah. Single season series plus minus.
Okay, so it's not in division.
He's on there. He's on here twice. Oh no! Oh no! One of them's a good team. One of them's the Celtics. I'll give you that one. I mean that.
Okay, so if it's 4 games, it's not in division, and it's a bad team.
Right? It can be in division.
Would you play 5 games against your division?
No.
Oh, you
always
do
play 4.
Oh,
yeah,
you
3
do
or 4. You play 4 against division, 3 or 4 against conference,
division,
2 against
whatever. I thought 5 because the Bucks played the Pacers 5 times.
Oh yeah, no, that's broken.
It's got to be the Hornets.
It is the Magic. The 2018-19 Magic. Anyway. They are. Also, where did it go? Brandon Miller against the Bucks is also on this list. So Bucks minus 88 in the 4 games.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's pretty bad. I mean, it's historically bad, but it's not bad compared to Miles Bridges, who we hate. So that's good. All right. Anyway, back to the Bucks.
Doc Rivers.
Oh yeah, Doc Rivers. I was going to skip to the road trip or the West slate. Almost forgot about Doc. So what you're saying about Bobby Portis playing his role and guys seem to be locked in. This has been an emphasis of Doc's, and we've heard from I think multiple people now that he's basically going to players and saying, "You're going to play your role now. Like we're not doing whatever you want. You're not going to tell the coaching staff how you're going to play."
He's Giannis on that FaceTime to Serge Ibaka on how hungry are you.
He is. You're shooting at the rim or you're shooting threes, Bobby. We're not posting you up 50 times a game anymore. I noticed post break, Malik Beasley has taken like 2 more shots per game than Brook. That's flipped from pre-All-Star break when Brook took about 2 more shots than Beasley. So it does seem like the Bucks are funneling their shot diet better, even without Chris Middleton to soak up a bunch of shots. And obviously, pretty much any Chris shot's going to be better than most guys on the team just because he's so good, especially from mid-range this season. And his 3s came along too.
Still remains the highest mid-range shooter in the league, percentage-wise.
Yeah, like 57%, I think it is.
0.4, I think, 57.4.
It's ridiculous. But Doc has streamlined things, I think, for this team on offense, which is good. He has been vocal about ball movement, and the ball movement has been gorgeous in some of these games. Giannis, or he's talked about spamming more Giannis at the elbow actions when teams can't guard it, which is always something that we support, and that's been working as well. And then
Giannis
defensively,
at the elbow is always a great action. One, because he's working at angles, not just going straight 1 against 5, and the barrier can be built.
yeah,
We haven't mentioned the barrier in a while.
no.
It's almost like, you know what's crazy? This is just like a revelation I'm having right now, is that Dame negates the barrier.
Yeah, it moved. The barrier's at the arc now around Dame.
Yeah, it's crazy. Dame completely negates the barrier. Because you have you have to throw two guys at Dame on the perimeter. So how does that leave you any interior defense? All I'm saying is that even though Damian Lillard's not shooting the ball as well or playing up to Damian Lillard levels that we know from previous years, he is still giving a massive, massive boost to Giannis.
Oh yeah,
just by being on the court.
The gravity is there. I still can't believe the way teams guard him. I'm still surprised by it.
They're scared, man.
Yeah, but Giannis is out there.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Like, I mean, I get it. I understand.
Than 2, I guess.
It is.
Even though Giannis is hitting his threes at a clip. He came out of All-Star Weekend where he was like, hey, I'm going to go win the 3-point contest someday. He's like, let's make it next year.
I think Giannis would maybe finish the 3rd rack if he did the 3-point contest.
He might hit rim on the starry ball.
Yeah. That's a good point too, if that's still a thing. But like the thing about it that people don't factor is speed. Giannis is just too big.
Like Beasley struggled with the speed. That's why he finished last.
Yeah, he was trying to shimmy too much.
He carried on the Chris Middleton tradition of finishing last if you're a Buck in the 3-point contest.
Yeah. Giannis, love you. I don't need to see you do it. If you want to do a 3-point contest, do it when you're like 36.
And you've sped up the shot.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. But Doc
with
Rivers.
His shooting motion, he's going to take a dribble with each shot.
Stand, wait for someone to close out and then shoot it. Giannis,
he's gonna pump fake and then go dunk at the ball.
Giannis, he dunks one. Oh wait, sorry, muscle memory.
That's like, oh man, the clock's over.
Yeah, Giannis made 2 of his 4 threes, but unfortunately will not go to the next round because he did not finish the first rack.
Hey, I mean, all I'm saying, Karl Anthony Towns had a foot on the line the entire time. Let Giannis dunk the ball.
Yeah, you should be able to take off from. I think it is actually a 3 if you dunk it from 3.
Oh, of course it is.
But it's not. But you can't dunk a free throw.
Yeah, it's a Wilt Chamberlain rule.
Everything's Wilt or Kareem is like every rule.
Because Wilt started dunking his free throws one game, and they were like, "Wait, you can't do this." No, he would get a running start, and then obviously he gets standing broad jump for the free throw line. He
probably almost could.
Even if you're Wilt, I'm sorry, he can't. But he couldn't. But he needed to take a running start to do it.
He could for sure easily lay it up though.
Yeah.
If you could jump.
Wouldn't it be a lane violation though?
Oh yeah, well dunking it would be too.
No, because the ball goes through the hoop before you land.
Well, a layup you could do that too.
I know, but it's just more difficult.
Or I guess it would be like a floater.
A floater. You needed to get into the basket quick before you land.
Doesn't it just have to hit rim? Couldn't you just like jump, toss it off the rim, and then alley-oop it?
That seems way too complicated.
If I was Wilt, I would try all this stuff. I would get so many things banned.
Yeah, Wilt allegedly scored 100 in a game. So all I'm saying is, show me the footage.
They don't have it.
That's all I'm saying. They have footage of Wilt fist-fighting Bill Russell in a game before his 100-point game. All I'm trying to say is show me the 100-point game. I'm not here to peddle conspiracy theories.
You are, though. You do this.
Hey, I'm a young guy on a podcast. That's what you're supposed to do, apparently. That's what I've heard.
Have you heard these guys at the NFL Combine?
Oh my God, that makes me so upset.
One of them said space isn't real. Not like the moon landing, all of space.
There's no other planets or anything.
No.
And I quote tweeted that. I said, "Child left behind."
Yeah, that's a good tweet. And one guy said, "You've never seen a baby pigeon, so pigeons aren't real." I was like, "They're not going to be real for long. I think pigeons are in trouble, but it's not because they're robots."
No, it's not because they're robots.
My favorite thing about the birds aren't real, but the government's spying on us, My guys, there's cameras everywhere. You're
Why would
carrying
you
one
need
around.
birds?
Like, you can see cameras all over the place. And again, you carry this thing is filming. For audio listeners, a phone. Like, the government is not like, oh, we don't have enough surveillance. We really need to know what random people are doing more often. They know.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Anyway, Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Speaking of someone who will peddle a theory. But is doing a very good job coaching the Bucks, I think. And defensively, obviously, night and day. They've been the best defense in the league post All-Star. They've been a top 10 defense at least. Actually, let me pull up Doc's whole tenure where they've been. They've been an excellent defense, though, especially comparatively to where they were previous to the Riversing. What was his first game?
And Damian Lillard is one of the
Jan
big
29th.
reasons.
Jan 29th against Nuggets, I think, was his first game.
Yep, that was his first game.
Since then, the Bucks are 4th in defense.
Incredible.
17th in offense, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'd take that because there's a higher upside for the Bucks offense than their defense. I'll say that. Because what I was going to say is it's incredible that Doc Rivers is coaching this team and letting this team, obviously it's the players too. I want to give the players credit too because they're locking in, buying in on the defensive end as well. And they've sort of formed an identity around that. And I think a lot of that starts with Patrick Beverley. Getting in on guys and just being able to, like I said earlier, light a fire under their butts about locking in on the defensive end. And if you're this Bucks team who has been struggling all season long to find out who you are, struggle all throughout the season to find an identity, they found one. They're going to be pests on defense. And I'll give it this. What I was saying is this roster is not built to be a defensive pest team. They are not built for that at all. You have mainly offensive-minded players. You're going to find out real quick about that when Chris Middleton comes back. Even though Chris Middleton, I will say, was finding more and more of a rhythm on the defensive end before he got hurt, but he got hurt again. So it's that's so sad. He just keeps getting hurt, and I hate it.
I know. This one was so inexplicable, too. Hopefully he's back very soon.
KD's foot strikes again. Crazy. But
the saddest group of people on the internet, I think, is Nets fans.
Are they even Nets fans? Are they just Kyrie fans?
Maybe both, but I stumbled into their subreddit, and they're still talking about Giannis. Still.
Is this in between your submechanophobia?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've been less into it lately. The community is really, like, they haven't put as good posts out lately. Now it's just like, here's
you need to go find some yourself.
Well, because these people are, like, afraid of stuff underwater. So here's a ladder in a swimming pool. Spooky. I'm like, all right, grow up. Like, I want to see a ship. I want to see a ship.
There ladders in every swimming pool?
Pretty much. What I'm saying, these people are like, they're becoming weenies on that subreddit.
Oh, man.
Like, so here's a rubber ducky that's sunk in a... It's like, that's not... I don't even know how you'd be scared by that. It's not cool. Show me the inside of a water tower or something. I want to see something cool underwater.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
They did the water. They put the Waterworld set like drained, and that was kind of cool.
They put Waterworld underwater.
Well, like the bottom part. There's like a part where the actors go to dive and stuff from the show. It's pretty. That was interesting. There's a show called Waterworld.
Oh, you're not talking about the Kevin Costner movie?
No.
Are you not proud of me for making that poll?
Costner feels like one of the 4 actors you'd know a lot about.
Why
That's
Kevin
your thing
Costner?
with movies. Sports movies.
What sports movies has Kevin Costner done?
Oh my God. Really?
What? Yeah.
For the Love of the Game,
No.
Draft Day. He's done a lot. I mean, he's done a lot of sports movies. Isn't he in Angels in the Outfield?
Never seen it.
It's okay.
Isn't like Waterworld just the postman, but with water?
He was in both of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bull Durham. He's Field of Dreams.
Nope, never seen it.
Tin Cup.
Isn't that an object?
That's a golf movie.
No, never seen it. I didn't know Kevin Costner did sports movies.
He did.
Kevin Costner died after Waterworld.
No, he loves sports.
Interesting. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Chris Middleton when he comes back.
Kevin Costner grew up in Compton.
Really? Hey, when Kendrick Lamar was talking about when he does it for Compton, he's talking about
Kevin Costner's stomping grounds.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, Chris Middleton coming back. This team is going to get probably a little less defensive oriented. Sorry to say, as Chris comes back from another injury.
I mean, if it's Gallo minutes going away, I think that's a net win.
That's fair. I mean,
AJ Green less so.
That's fair. But what I was trying to say, this team has bought in on the defensive end of the court. That starts with Doc Rivers, Patrick Beverley. They've really transformed this team into buying in on the defensive end, which is where this team thrives. And again, like I was saying, this team is not built to be a defensive-minded team. They're not. But if they want to embrace that as their identity, I'd rather them take that because there's a higher upside on the other side of the ball where they don't need to put that much focus into.
Couldn't agree more. Standings watch before we move to the West slate. The Bucks with the Cavs. Dude.
This is some new info that we got before before we recorded last time as the game was going on.
The Knicks have got the Cavs worse than any team has ever had the Bucks.
It's so bad. Like they own the Cavs. It's crazy. You got Jared Allen saying the lights were too bright. Like, man said that. He actually said that after playing the Knicks in the playoffs.
For a first round playoff series. So OG Anunoby out, Julius Randle out, Mitchell Robinson out. And I think another
Jalen Brunson got hurt mid-game.
Brunson got hurt like a minute into the game, and was out. And hopefully it's not that bad. It looked rough. We don't have what it actually is yet. It was a knee though. They said knee. I think they had another starter also out, and the Knicks easily won that game. And Josh Hart hits a fadeaway three to clinch it. Did you see this? He taps Donovan Mitchell's chain, and just goes back like nothing happened. Again, I've said this before.
I don't know how that's not a technical, but one, I will say they are friends.
It doesn't matter. Listen, the Cavs people you don't think they should fight on the court? Maybe if they do that against you, maybe you need to just express some feelings. But nothing happened. And earlier in the year, these teams played. Was it the Heat? Somebody stepped over Darius Garland, and the Cavs are just like, oh okay, oh yeah, that'll happen. No. Stand up for your guys. They don't. They just fall over. Not worried about
McBride made Evan Mobley touch her.
Dude, he almost knocked his own knees together.
Crazy.
Deuce McBride played 47 minutes in that game. Regulation
13 seconds. Off the bench.
It's probably a record. I think the data only goes back to 87. Well, the data only goes back to 87, but it's probably a record.
It's the most since 1965, I think.
I saw 87, but yeah, regardless. Well, yeah, basically, Brunson got hurt, and then
Josh Hart in a 13-point triple-double?
I would hope. He played 46 minutes.
Crazy.
Alec Burks, who they got at the trade deadline, played 11 minutes. Tim says his guys. Alec Burks is not one of his guys. And Bogdanovich only played 29. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But you can tell Tibbs doesn't like him that much. Again, I think, what did Bojan play? 28 minutes in that game? 29?
30.
He got to 30? Okay, not bad.
Off the bench, that's a lot.
It's not that much when you're basically playing 6 guys.
That's fair. But I'll say, did you see the Evan Mobley Ben Simmons comparison?
No.
I don't take this with any actual basketball insight or thought, but it's like someone said, oh yeah, he's a generational defensive player. He'll develop a shot. Don't worry. And it's like, oh
no.
Oh.
Thankfully,
just to be clear, we're not there yet at all. No, Evan Mobley is a much better jump shooter than Ben Simmons ever was in his first 2 years.
I mean, he will also go to the basket, although Ben did at one point too. I mean,
something happened to Ben Simmons.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, but the Bucks are in sole possession of the 2 seed in the East, which is probably their best case. I mean, they're 8.5 behind Boston, who red hot team right now. I don't think they will catch the Celtics.
They're the first team in NBA history to ever beat teams by 50 points 3 separate times in the season.
How many were the Nets though?
That's fair.
I know at least one was the Nets. That shouldn't count. Dead basketball team. Bucks are in 2. They can hold on to 2. They probably will not have the tiebreaker with the Cavs, which could be a big factor here. They're now half a game ahead. They will only have the tiebreaker if the Cavs lose to the Pacers twice. Those are the last division games for either team. Bucks are 10-7, Cavs are 9-5, and will play one less game. So if they get one win against the Pacers, they will have that tiebreaker. But Milwaukee could also just hold on to the second seed in record. But the Knicks do pull a little closer to that 2-3 bracket with the win. They're now 3.5 behind the Cavs, 4 behind the Bucks with that victory over Cleveland. But I think the 2 seed is a good place to be. Stay away from Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals, and maybe Miami has to play Boston, and you can make them go through that instead of the Bucks having to go through that. But 4 through 8 is separated by 2.5 games right now, so it's really impossible to game any matchups at this point.
Yeah, it really is. You just want to put yourself in the best position possible, and that's the 2 seed. Yeah. 1, you get home court up until the conference finals, assuming Boston makes it there, which, let's be honest, they probably will. Hey, Miami, if you want to work some devil magic, that's all I'm saying. Is it's only fair if you do it against other teams too, not just the Bucks in the first round. I mean, given they did it to the Celtics last year too, up until the finals. But hey, all I'm saying is, if you want to make that devil magic go, you're entitled to do so.
So if the season ended today,
who's the Yachty on the Heat beat and get the sage going, that Dragon's Blood sage going?
He will. If the season ended today and the Pacers beat the Heat in the play-in, it would be Heat with 1 win over the Bulls or Hawks to play Boston. Pacers would play Bucks. Knicks would play Sixers.
Bring them on.
So yeah, I'm not worried about them anymore. They've actually been bad. Halliburton doesn't look right.
Halliburton after coming back from that hamstring injury, is not the same at all.
I don't think he should. I think he clearly rushed back. Like, he looks just bad. And they have been bad. They've been 5-5.
He got benched for TJ McConnell in the fourth quarter of a game.
TJ McConnell, to me, is like, that guy should maybe just start somewhere. Every time I watch TJ McConnell play, I'm like, he's 5'11", but he just hoops. It's crazy.
TJ McConnell against Bucks in the playoffs would honestly make me quit watching basketball.
He might make you. Anyway, but the Celtics could have the Heat in the first round and then one of the Knicks or Sixers in the second round, which is actually pretty tough, especially if those teams get healthy. Maybe they just won't. But I think they're both hoping to. We'll see. Brunson's status is going to be the big question now. But the poor Knicks, I've never said that before, but really snake bit. I mean, this should be a very good team, and they just have none of their players right now. They're 3-7 in their last 10, even with the win over the Cavs, and it's not really their fault. But the Bucks would have Pacers, and then it would be the winner of, and I want to ask you, where would they televise this series? The winner of Cavs Magic would play Milwaukee. Is that on Tubi?
That's on WMLW, man.
That's on the G League app, not even the NBA app.
that's on Quibi.
The Magic are red hot too, but I just don't trust them in the playoffs. And I mean, the Cavs are kind of the same boat. Like,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that as a slight. Shout out WMLW for broadcasting Bucks games outside of Bally Sports and being like statewide as well. I did not mean that as a shot. It's good. It would be bad for an unrelated to Wisconsin national TV game though if they were only on
WMLW.
It would. No, they're reviving Quibi, putting that series there. You can watch it landscape and portrait time.
It's going to be on the Pat Bev Pod YouTube channel.
No, they'll put it on. They'll simulcast it. They'll put it on the Analysis YouTube channel and.
There we go. And
then in Spanish on Gallows Pod.
Spanish or Italian?
Italian, not Spanish. I'm too busy thinking of EuroLeague.
Finally, I'm the one who didn't mess up geopolitics. Good for me.
Yeah. That's fair.
But that would be a pretty good playoff bracket. I mean, you could get Miami in the first round, which I think would scare people, but you got to beat good teams to make it somewhere.
You can't, if you're worried about, I say again, because I mentioned it on the last time we recorded, no one else knows. Yeah. But you cannot be worried about a first round matchup. If you are worried about your first round matchup when you are the 2 seed, you are not contenders. You're not. You can't be. Because guess what? The teams you're going to play after are only going to get better. You cannot be worried about a first round.
Although we did say this last year, and then the team they played in the first round beat them and everyone else in the East.
And they weren't contenders.
Yeah.
They weren't.
Such a weird year, though.
Such a weird year.
Anyway, all right, that's the schedule.
You can't be a contender if you lose in the first round.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Yeah.
So hopefully it happens to Boston this time.
I'm ready, man. I'm so ready. I am ready to unleash some fire. I don't even care if the Bucks lose in the second round. If the Celtics lose in the first round, I'm going to have a field day.
They are having one of the best regular seasons ever, and to see it end at the hands of the Heat would just be so good. Markelle Fultz shooting 67% from three.
Oh my goodness, I need it. I need it more than I need oxygen, man.
Franz Wagner and all the Celtics fans are just like, damn, if we don't love that guy, though.
Hey, you know what? I respect it.
Can't put our finger on why, but that's an ethical.
Mo Wagner, that's my guy right there.
The Celtics need to target these guys. Keep Porzingis, but target some of these guys.
Yeah, we'll keep Luke Cornett too, but we'll take Mo Wagner too. We need these three centers more than anything. Al Horford, you can stop with the PEDs. You're done. I saw someone said if Al Horford takes a urine test, it's going to burn through the cup.
No comment.
Yeah, shout out Al Horford.
The Bucks have a lot of old players too, so no comment.
No comment. Back surgery is one hell of a drug.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what... You know what? Maybe that's the missing piece for Gallo.
He needs to take steroids?
No. No, didn't say that.
He just needs to take a quick trip to Germany.
Yeah. Deer antler spray and such things. The Bucks play 5 straight Western Conference teams now, starting tonight with the Clippers at home, then a 4-game road trip. Warriors, Lakers, Clippers, Kings. I believe in that order. I could be wrong. But Rohan, this is going to be a good test for Milwaukee. I think how real some of these things are. Their bench player success, their defense, everything. I think we feel good the offense will be good, better than it's been, frankly, no matter what. But it is a good test for their defense and their bench. So what are your thoughts on this upcoming slate and these teams the Bucks are going to be playing?
It's a big test. It's a big test for the Bucks. I mean, like we saying, they have a lot of they've had like a lot of wins in this stretch after All-Star. They're 5-0. However, it hasn't been against the most decorated of opponents. And you're going to be going up against some teams that are winning basketball games now. I mean, somewhat. You have the Lakers, you have the Warriors, who are sort of going back and forth for 8 and 9 in the bracket. The Clippers, they've been winning games. They are a title contender for sure.
No, they are going back and forth for 9 and 10.
The Clippers are?
No, the Warriors and Lakers.
Yeah. Oh, did I say 8 and 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 and 10. Excuse me.
I want to get the slander correct on those two.
No, that's fair. That's completely fair. Yeah, the Clippers are title contenders, though. Even though they've been having a little bit of a slide pre and post All-Star break, they are still a very, very good basketball team who is poised to make a run this postseason, contingent on health. That's going to be a big test. They play them twice in a week. It's going to be a good test for the Bucks. They are a proxy, the best proxy you can get for this Celtics team, basically only because they have 2 like superstar wings. Paul George hopefully will be playing in these games. We will see. Kawhi Leonard should be playing in these games. James Harden should be playing in these games. Russell Westbrook.
The first one is a back-to-back for the Clippers, so it will be interesting. They played that game against the Timberwolves the day before, so we will see if they end up doing any rest or if they stick to actually playing their guys, which they have been, in fairness to them, for recent games.
Yeah, and this entire season.
Dude, both of them are back-to-backs for the Clippers.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they have March 9th Bulls, March 10th Bucks, and those are both day games?
What is happening?
They play the Bulls at 3 and the Bucks at 2 p.m. Central, which is like horrible. It's 1 and noon in LA time?
Yeah.
On back-to-back days?
Weird.
That is very weird. There's a blender operating behind me if you hear a noise.
I do not hear anything.
Well, not directly behind me, but in the house.
Yeah, watch the YouTube. You can see a blender right behind me.
Yes. Whoa.
But yeah, it's gonna be a good test for the Bucks. I mean, it's better than the Hornets twice. You know,
Yeah, oh yeah.
it's better than the Bulls, who lost to the Pistons the other day. It's better than that. It's just good. I mean, the Lakers and Warriors, they'll fight. They'll give you one heck of a fight, unless you're the Warriors playing the Celtics.
Oh, the Warriors. So the Warriors come in with a bunch of rest. Now I'm looking it all up. They will not play since the drubbing against Boston. Their next game is the Bucks game, so they will be rested.
They'll get 2.5 days rest between.
Think about
games.
how bad they got their asses kicked.
Yeah, honestly.
The Lakers have a game off. They play the Kings 2 days before. Who's the Kings schedule? We've never prepped for a road trip this much before.
So basically, the Bucks are going to have some rest advantage, some rest disadvantage. That's usually how it goes.
I think they'll be even against the Lakers and Kings. They both have a day off before they play. I think both teams do. The Bucks have no back-to-backs on this trip, which is nice for them.
Yep, they did their back-to-backs on the last West Coast road trip, which is even worse. You'd rather have the LA back-to-back because you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
And the teams are. Oh, the Clippers are good, but most of the teams on this trip are not as good as their last one, where they had to play Denver, Phoenix, etc.
Yeah, the Bucks only have 3 back-to-backs remaining in the schedule, as they only have 21 games remaining in their NBA regular season, which is crazy.
Home stretch.
It's always crazy to see the regular season start to dwindle down. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting road trip. Doubtful that Embiid plays against the Bucks on March 14th.
First game back after. Oh yeah.
Yep. But then even after this road trip, you got the Sixers, like I mentioned, you got the Suns, then you got the Celtics, Nets back-to-back, road home back-to-back, which is going to be tough. OKC at home, that's a good game. Lakers, Pelicans, Hawks, not good. And rest of the way, in April, you got the Wizards, Grizzlies back-to-back, which is like, come on. What?
Please take care of them. I need actually a revenge game against the Wizards. The Wizards didn't beat the Bucks, but they kept it way too close.
And a revenge game against the Grizzlies. They actually beat them.
Oh, yeah. That's a real revenge game. Yeah. I want G.G. Jackson to cry on air.
You need him to be like, Shaq, I need you. You need to hold me, Shaq.
Yeah.
Then you got the Raptors at home, who unfortunately not have Scotty Barnes probably, as he has a fracture in his hand.
And Pirtle has a fractured, or maybe not fractured, but had to leave a game recently too. They're beat up.
Just unfortunate. The Knicks at home, which should be a good game. Julius Randle coming back soon.
We'll see.
Important game for sure. Then you got the Celtics Magic home back-to-back. Again, both Celtics games remaining are on the front end of a back-to-back, which is weird. Then you end with the Thunder on the road, and then the Magic at noon on the road as the last game of the regular season on 4-1-4 day. We're going to see a lot of two-way rookie play in that game, probably.
New two-way Jaylin Galloway might get some of his first Bucks run in that game, to be honest.
He might. But before we talk about Jaylin Galloway, just what do you predict for this? Not necessarily like a record prediction, but do you think the Bucks are going to struggle?
Should we just score a prediction every game?
No, we should not.
I'm going to say they win 3 or 4 of these games. I really do think they're
on
rolling.
The road trip.
Yeah, and plus the Clippers game, so out of the 5. The first Clippers game at home, I should say. I think the Bucks have found something and they're rolling. I will hope that they get Chris back at some point in this, which will certainly help quite a bit, especially offensively. And I just think they're better than most of these teams pretty clearly. I mean, the Kings have just been mid this season. They actually lost Sabonis's minutes on the whole this year, which I found crazy, even though they are 9 games above 500. The Warriors and Lakers are just very flawed teams, even though they have obviously generational stars. And LeBron, congrats to 40K, and Steph. And the Clippers are just very good, but...
Congrats to Steph for 40K?
Congrats to Steph for a great career. I don't know. He doesn't have 40K.
What do you think he's done?
No. I mean, is he done being important in like the title conversation? Maybe.
Oof.
Well?
You're not
wrong. But anyway, the Clippers are pretty good, but have been uninspiring. So I just think the Bucks are better than a lot of these teams, all these teams, and I think they'll look like it. And I think it's nice that even though it's the West Coast trip, like that Kings game at the end will be tough, but I think the Bucks don't like the Kings very much, so hopefully they're a little fired up, and at least they're not back-to-back sprinkled in here. And if you get Chris back, that's like an injection of fresher legs for hopefully at least a couple of these games. So yeah, I think they'll look good. I think they'll continue proving that they are a great team, and I feel good about this stretch.
How can you not? This Bucks team is rolling. They're playing good ball on both ends of the court. I mean, they're leaving a little left to be desired on the offensive end, but a lot of that can probably be attributed to the fact that they were blowing up the Hornets and put in a lot of garbage time in these games.
I mean, they're still top 5 in offense since the break,
which is great. It's great. You want to see your team top 5 in offense and defense. That's the mark of a true contender. There's only one team overall in the season who's top 10 offense defense. That's the Celtics.
Yeah.
But hey, Doc's Bucks are on their way there. I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
So it's good to see the Bucks rolling. It's great to see that. But they do have some news, like you mentioned, you alluded to earlier. Jaylin Galloway out of Australia and the Sydney Kings comes on a 2-way contract with the Milwaukee Bucks. Kind of out of nowhere. You didn't really expect this to happen, but hey, the Bucks are taking a flyer on an athletic guy, and hi, you have some insight here.
I do. Some exclusive insight from friend of the podcast, and of course, Jaylin Galloway's former coach at the Sydney Kings, Chase Buford. I asked him.
Former assistant to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yep, championship head coach. Of course, Wisconsin Herd, best coach in franchise history per winning percentage. He and I still both feel, Rob, that team never got to play in the playoffs because of, Rudy Gobert caused COVID and everything else. But he didn't really. I want to make that. I don't want to play with the facts with COVID too much. Enough people have done that. But anyway, he says JG's a very talented prospect with real NBA athleticism and frame, excels in the open court offensively with highlight dunks. He can drive, get to the rim, and finish. And he was used as the primary defender for the Sydney Kings, meaning he was guarding the best guard/wing on the other end. So has the potential to be a really solid 3-and-D prospect with good athleticism, open court game. Also, he's a good kid who works hard and is very low-key, which sounds like the perfect Bucks flyer, honestly, at this point. Like, more wing prospects. I mean, certainly we hope that by next season, some of Marjon Beauchamp, Andre Jackson Jr., and maybe even Chris Livingston are factors in the rotation. But why not add another one and see if they pop? I mean, you have all these roster spots and these 2-way spots. Like, take flyers and see. And if you hit on a real steal developmentally, it's a big deal for a team that is so expensive with the salary cap and so limited in options. So excited to watch Galloway hopefully play with the Herd. They only have a few games left this month, but hopefully get to see him play quite a bit here in Oshkosh.
Yeah, it's might as well take a flyer on a young athletic guy. He's just turned he's 21 years old.
Yeah.
Young, athletic, defensive 3-and-D prospect of a guy. And guess what? Now you got 3 tickets. You got Jaylin Galloway, Marjon Beauchamp, Andre Jackson Jr. 4 if you want to say Chris Livingston.
Ryan Rollins,
yeah.
I mean, AJ Green too established?
I think he might be.
He's already in the rotation. I mean, you could count him too. I mean, but that's why this is like, that's the situation AJ was in. I mean, he's just a 2-way guy who played well enough and earned more spots. So you just never know where it's going to go. And of course, they have Ty Washington too. Not a wing, but
but there's definitely a chance for sure.
He told me in a last interview with him, he thinks he can be a backup point guard in the league, which I was like, good on you for just realistic expectations and goal setting.
Yeah, I mean, he's still young. He's still so.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's not saying top out forever, but I think get my skill set to where I can do that, show I can run the floor and everything else. And
hey, what I'm saying is Pat Bev's on a 1-year contract.
A lot of Bucks are on. I mean, Malik Beasley on a 1-year, Jay Crowder on a 1-year. There's a lot of Gallo on a 1-year. A lot of 1-year contracts.
Gallo might not even make it to the season, man.
Gallo could be back. Who knows? Yeah. Could you imagine?
No.
Free agency opens. First Bucks contract. We said the same thing about
Serge Ibaka, and he came back. We were congratulating him on starting his career in fashion and music. And then here he comes.
And then what
Serge
happened?
Ibaka re-signed.
And then what happened?
Yeah. Then he requested a trade, and he was available. No one signed him.
They traded him to IG.
Who did the Bucks get back in that trade? The lack of Serge Ibaka.
They got that. I think they were running some Bucks in 6 culture, but I don't know if they still do or not. That's what they got back.
Oh man, but yeah, no, Gallo, no, dude's bad. Dude's cooked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you just need one of these guys to hit, and I think Jaylin Galloway is a great flyer, and thanks to Chase Buford for that insight.
Yeah. Excited to see him play, and it's very obvious that the Bucks realize they just need more defense on this roster, and I mean that's what Ryan Rollins is known for too. And they're just saying, let's see what sticks. Throw a bunch of stuff at a wall
and see what sticks. That's what you got to do. And who knows? Maybe all of them hit. Maybe the Bucks are just a super team in waiting with young talent. You
that
laugh,
would be crazy.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Imagine.
I would like to.
Do your thing. Milton Newton, do your thing. But yeah, do we have anything else we need to talk about here?
No, I mean, I think we covered a whole lot. I mean, now it's time to just watch a bunch of basketball and hopefully enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks are enjoyable to watch again. I'll say that. They used to make you want to claw your eyes out at times, but hey, now they're back to their winning ways. They're a fun basketball team to watch, and we can't wait to watch alongside all of you and keep you covered for the Milwaukee Bucks here on the Gyro Step. So thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step here on Blue Wire and GSPN, presented by PrizePicks. Shout out to our friends over at PrizePicks. Make sure you use promo code GYROSTEP for up to $100 match on your first deposit. Yeah, or just go to prizepicks.com/GYROSTEP, either one. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening or watching this podcast/film of choice, YouTube. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review on your podcast platform of choice. Check out gspn.info for all of our links, all of our podcasts. Pod random, and we'll talk to you next time.